What up, everybody? Welcome to season 2 of Dope Chats with Stretch. That is me, yours truly, Stretch, a 6'6" phenomenon. So happy to be here with you all tonight, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And first and foremost, Happy New Year to you all. It's 2021. Hopefully you've all found different ways to envision yourself having fruitful and prosperous and just a better year than what you had last year. But if you woke up this morning, that's a good thing. That's a start, right? No doubt. Well, with that being said, man, I am super excited for my guest tonight. It's going to be off the chain. She is a very enlightening. She has a very enlightening story, I should say. Adversity that has led her to success. She is an award-winning entrepreneur named Top VIP Professional under the age of 40, and a leading woman under the age of 40 in the state of Maryland. She has many notches underneath her belt, a professor, an interior designer, which landed her on HGTV. And now she is the CEO and creative director of 6 Zeros Brand Studio, focusing on helping women rise in business and build their brand. I want you all to put your hands together and show some love for my girl, Doman. Oh, and of course, that big build-up. And it says she is unavailable. Let's do it again. Let's see. Hopefully I can bring you in. Boom!
I'm here.
I was like, yo. I was like, I gave this grandiose introduction.
I'm here.
Oh, man. What's going on? How you feeling?
Not much. I'm well. How about you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Yes, I guess we're still in the time frame to say Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Not past. I think you're only allowed like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, probably. But next week I'll be saying Happy Inauguration.
How about that?
Forever.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? So how was the holiday for you?
Quiet.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed home and didn't do anything, just movies and cooking and food and all that kind of stuff. And
right.
That's it, really.
Now you getting ready, and then so are you having anything planned for the inauguration?
No. I originally wanted to.
Right.
Because
I know all your sorrows gonna be out there.
we were gonna show up and show out, but unfortunately, I think for the good of everybody, we should just stay home.
Yeah.
And even more so now because of not only the health crisis of it, but the actual physical safety of it. So I'm going to steer clear. I'll celebrate from my couch.
There you go. That's I think that's a good move. I think a lot of people should be staying at home and partaking in the festivities from the couch. Yeah. So let's get into this. Because I'm super excited. First and foremost, thank you for being the first guest on season 2
of
Dope Chats with Stretch. I'm so excited for the fact that I made it to made it past season 1. I thought I was about to cancel. No, I'm kidding, man. It's all love. And like, this is a good platform because I love to just reach out to other individuals who are, business minded, fellow creatives such as myself and such as yourself, and just give opportunities for people, especially people of color, to have a platform to talk about the things that they're working on, the things that they're doing, and to hopefully, at the end of the day, branch out and help to enhance their brand. Yeah. So I got a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
So I hope you're ready. So now, you have many notches under your belt. What drove you to starting your own company?
Oh, I am highly unemployable. It just is what it is. I don't... There's no shame in saying that at all. I get bored very easily. So working for other people, I always would just be like, you know what, I'm over this. Like a year in, I'd be like, this is not it.
Right.
Plus, I am the personality type that I'm a really strategic thinker, and when I outthink my bosses, it's a problem. And then I have issue with having to ask permission to do stuff because I know that certain things could work. So entrepreneurship has just been my path really and truly or what I've wanted to do for my entire life. I've never really been the person to say, you know what, I want to be a doctor or be employed by this company and work for 40 years. And, you know, that's never been me. It's always been about doing my own thing.
Right. So, you know, it's interesting because as I was, you know, reading your bio, I mean, I was truly amazed at some of the stuff that you've been through from just life in general. Can you talk on that? Like, you know, the adversity that you went through, did that help steer you to where you are right now?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. It definitely helped steer me to where I am currently, but it was a very roundabout way to go. You know, the journey was really, really long and arduous. You know, I would say that my story or journey really didn't start until after I had my son. And just the ups and downs of being a mom who happened to be single. I don't subscribe to single mom anymore because that you'll manifest for the rest of your life. So a mom who happened to be single, right?
I like that.
Yep, doing it 100% on my own, which I call a very single mom, where his dad was not involved by any means, not physically, financially, nothing. And it was right when the recession hit, you know, back in 08, 09, right? That's when I had my son in November of 08, and then the recession hit. And so all of that compounded just knocked me completely on my back. For a very long time. And I have always been in a creative industry. And so when you're in those industries, that's the first thing to go when there's no money. You know, like people stop spending money on the extras. Yeah. And so it was difficult for me to find my footing for a really long time. And I tried almost everything. I mean, I sold life insurance. I'm a terrible salesperson. Like I tried everything because I needed to. But it wasn't until I was able to really hone in on like my creativity that things kind of started to turn around. And, you know, it slowly got better in the beginning, but then when it got good, like the trajectory was off the charts. Right. It got really good. So, yeah.
So, and from going through those steps to get you to where you are at right now, what do you think, what do you attribute, I guess, to leading you from point A to point B? Well, point Z.
Right, point A, B, C, D, E. You know, I would have to say that, you know, and it sounds cliche, but my son has always been my driving force. He is number one. And for me, it's been about showing him that there's something different in life, right? So I don't raise him to say, I want to get a job. I raise him to say, you know, how can I be the one providing jobs, right? And so I knew that that's how I wanted to raise him because that is not what I got when I was younger. And I wasn't able to really develop my entrepreneurial interest just because, you know, your parents know what they know, right? They do the best that they can. But that wasn't who I was. And so I recognized in my son really early that he had the same spirit that I did. And so it was really saying, okay, do you have to lead by example? So what is it that you're going to do in order to get to where you want to go so you can show your son that he has a way to get there too? So that was my always the first and foremost driving force. But then I would say that the secondary driving force was really, I like things. I like expensive things. I like to live well and eat well. And being on that side of the table was not it for me. I like to have autonomy over my time, my freedom, my money. You know what I mean? Like, and so whenever I would find a job, there was just always something in the back of my mind, like, this isn't how you're supposed to be living. I shouldn't have to ask somebody for time off when my son is sick, right? It should just be, you need to do this, go ahead and do it, you know, or I shouldn't have to beg somebody to make more money. Like, it should just be something, if you're working at it and you're doing a good job, you know what I mean? Then I shouldn't have to ask for it. It should just be something that I'm able to create and generate myself. So that was always the secondary driving force, was creating something for myself that was sustainable and that would give me the lifestyle that I really wanted to live, because I just don't, ordinary is not good enough for me. That's just who I am. So, yeah.
So throughout those, I guess the journey to get you to where you're at right now, I know that you like, again, like I said, you've done many different things that kind of like flesh out your career path, and as far as being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you thought were key and crucial to helping you become the person that you are at this present time?
I think it's not being able to try new things, right? Like, I always say that every day you wake up is a new day to reinvent yourself. You don't have to be, there's no obligation to be the person you were yesterday. And I say reinvention is the spice of life. So for me, it's been trying new things to see what really feels good and what sticks and where I find my joy. Like, because going through life miserable ain't it? Like, that's never going to be good for anybody. So finding my true north and my joy was really important. And I, like I said, I tried it all. I sold life insurance. I worked at Nordstrom, you know, getting those commissions. I've sold solar panels at one point. Like, I was, yeah, man.
I could never envision you knocking on somebody's door talking about, do you want to save some money on your electricity?
I was there a month, but I did it. I did it is the key. Right. I was there, right? Because I was like, I need to do something. And then, so the solar panels was actually the last, god awful job that I had, and I had to end up leaving because my son ended up having some health issues, and so a month after I found that job, I had to quit in order to take care of my son. In hindsight, it was an amazing godsend, because then that's when I started freelancing and I got into home staging and interior design, which was a really latent talent for me. But it was the creative outlet that I needed to really spawn this robust career that I've had. And that wasn't that long ago. That was 2016 when I started that. And I've managed to do a lot of amazing things in the short amount of time since switching careers and really finding, you know, my true path as an entrepreneur and as a creative.
Right. You know, it's funny because I think, you know, being a person who has, for the most part, for the majority of my career, has worked in the entertainment side of things. And then when I moved back to the DMV in 2010 and started working for the federal government, but still having my foot in the door as far as still doing what I love to do as far as radio is concerned, it was definitely a transition for me too, from going through those stages to now starting my own company, you know, just last year, and putting that, like, it's something about having your own that you're going to go hard for it, because you want to see it succeed, and also you have no choice but to go hard for it because you're the only person. Like, I'm not, my company's not generating money, you know, in a sense where I can hire staff or whatever the case may be. I am everything. So I think it's important that, you know, when you have that mindset, that, you know, you're able to see things through, and it makes you stronger, I think, as a person too.
It does. It's definitely character building. You know, they say the best personal development is A, having a child, and B, starting a business, right? Those are the two best ways to personally develop you, your stamina, you know, what you can withstand. But I will say that you have to decide if you want to be a one-man show or one-woman show forever, or if there is the possibility for you to to grow a little bit.
Right.
Because after you've done all of the things, you'll get burnt out. Right.
Yeah.
So then it's a question of, and that's really where I'm in the process right now of expanding my company. I'm actively hiring, specifically for a marketing person. But I'm actively hiring now because being full-time, doing all of the things, like putting on 10 different hats during a day is exhausting. And there comes a point where you just cannot give everything to each of those positions, right? And so it's kind of like, well, what's the bigger pain? Staying small, you know, and doing all of that yourself, or taking that leap to hire somebody to delegate to and take some of that burden off of your shoulders, and then you grow even more because of it, right? So that's just kind of what comes with business and entrepreneurship in general. And that's the side of, like, I'm very right brain, left brain. I'm very creative, but then I'm also very analytical and strategic. And that business acumen and knowing how to navigate those highs and lows is thrilling to me. It's exhilarating. I love all of it.
Yeah. So that's very good points. Thanks for sharing. Let's talk about your business. So tell me all about it. What's the concept? How did it come about? Where do you see yourself going, and what services do you provide?
Yeah. So 60 Brand Studio is really derived from the fact that everything starts, people think branding is, you know, your logo, your colors, you know, all of the pretty stuff that you see when you look at a business. And that is not it by any means. So it was really derived from wanting to know people's stories and helping them tell them in a cohesive way in order to really call in and attract their clients. So everything in business starts with a single person, right? I always say that people buy from people. They don't buy just because, you know, it's a business, at least not when you're small. You know, if you're a big company like Gucci, people, want to buy because of the label. But when you're a small company, people buy from people. And so you have to connect on a human to human, heart to heart level. And so 60 Brand Studio is really that human to human connection. And then what we do is, once we know what that story is, we build out a brand and a brand narrative around all of that. So we look into, what are your company's core values? What is it that you believe in? What is the culture that you want to have when you start hiring employees? You know, what is your mark that you want to make on the world? What is the impact and the influence and the legacy that you want to leave in the world? And that is how you build a profitable brand. Right? It's not starting with your logo and your colors and your Instagram pictures. That's not it at all. It's really getting to the heart of who you are as a company, or as a person first, that spills over into your company. And so at 60 Brand Studio, we work strategically with companies who hire us to build out their brand strategy and develop their brand in a cohesive way. And it's as simple as that on the surface, but underneath there's many, many layers to it that people often don't think about when they're trying to either rebrand and elevate their company or start from scratch. A lot of people jump straight to the marketing first, and that is an absolute no-no, right? So the marketing is what you tell other people about your brand, right? So, hey, look at me, you know what I mean? I'm over here, this is what I do.
Right.
But if you don't have the internal goods to uphold all of that, then things are going to eventually fall. So that's what 60 Brand Studio does.
Yeah, that's what's up. I was just noticing how good my hair looks tonight, so I'm sorry.
Ah, congrats.
I'm kidding. I'm trying to hold on to it. You know what I mean? You can't see back here.
Let's go from this angle.
I was doing some research, and so I noticed over the last year, women have started 1,817 new businesses per day in the U.S. So that is at least, and out of that number, I should say, 89% of those were women of color, 1,625.
Yes.
Now, we've seen throughout history, as early as such entrepreneurs like Madam C.J. Walker, to some more current base entrepreneurs like Charlie Harris, founder of Chase and Transformation. She's really good. Camille Hurst, co-founder of Kit, and like Shantae Lundy, founder of Black Girl Sunscreen. Why do you think it's important for women of color to build their to build their own from an entrepreneurial aspect?
Because we're tired of being marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
We're tired of being overlooked. We're tired of people thinking we don't know what we know. We're tired of being second guessed in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
We're tired of white women fragility. Yes, I said it, where they're afraid that we're going to take their job because they for whatever reasons, you know, are intimidated by us. We are not intimidating. They are intimidated, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. And I think that I think that especially women of color are just tired of having to shrink,
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And dumb themselves down. And it's exhausting. It is. Listen, I used to have a job where I had a boss who would not let me do what I was hired to do because mm-hmm. she was so afraid that I would do something with her company or take it over or whatever it was. I would literally cry on the way home from work every single day, every day. It is mental and emotional abuse working in corporate America. Mm-hmm. To me, that is my honest to God opinion. It is mental and emotional abuse for Black women especially. And we're just tired of it. It's like, what? Well, pick your struggle. You know what I mean? Like, right. You're either going to go to work and get paid less than what you're worth and work crazy amounts of hours and have all of the stress and come home with the stress. And then you've got kids potentially to take care of and a household to run. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to have the stress doing it yourself, right? Either way, it's stressful. But you get to dictate this life when you're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You get to choose your stress, right? Some days you're stressed because of money. Some days you're stressed because, you know, your kid is freaking being homeschooled right now and you don't have the capacity to do both at the same time. Either way, it's a struggle. Right. So I am a proponent. I am so proud of each and every one of those 1,000, whatever number it is that you just spit to me. Because it means that we are taking back our power. Mm-hmm. And it means that we are at the point now where, like, we can't settle for second best anymore. Right. Because we never should have had to in the first place. Right. And part of my brand values as a company, I try to, wherever possible, support and hire women of color. Mm-hmm. I believe in melanin magic, and that's what you're going to get when you hire my company. We have experts on my team who, you know, are so well-versed and so dope and so powerful. That's what you get when you bring on 60's Brand Studio. So it's not just me, because I know that, you know, myself it's limited. We bring in collective melanin magic in my mm-hmm. company to work on people's brands. So I am here for it, all of it.
That's dope. That's dope. For the folks who are watching right now, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I will be sure to ask DeAndre your questions. So, you know, if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. Once again, you're checking out Dope Chats with Stretch. I am talking with my guest, DeAndre Coleman. And, you know, how important do you think it is during the crazy time that we've been through for the past, 8-9 months, that is imperative for folks to take that time to kind of figure out, okay, I need not only to have a side hustle, but how I can turn my side hustle into my main hustle. How important do you think it is for folks, especially people of color, to try to find something outside, something that they're passionate about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me start with this. I think that it's important for everybody to find something that they're passionate about. But I don't want to attribute that to the crisis that we've been in for almost a year, right? Mm-hmm. So it's almost been a year. I say find whatever piece you need to find during this period, right? If it's mm-hmm. not a side hustle right now, then it's not a side hustle, and that's okay. If it's just surviving day by day, that's okay too, right? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that it's really important for people to find a side hustle right now, what I would say is that it's important to find your joy. Mm-hmm. Whatever that looks like, find it and lean into it. Now, that being said, because of COVID, I think that it has illuminated the fact that a job isn't a guarantee either, right? Like people who were like, oh, I need a good job so I can have stability, have learned that that good job is not stability by any means. And so for those who are ready to figure out what that side hustle is, then do it. And I one of my pet peeves is using the word hustle. I hate it. I hate the word hustle. I hate the word grind. The struggle is real. None of those, because I believe that you speak that over yourself, right? So if you're talking about a side hustle, then that means that, oh, it's hard, it's a struggle. I gotta do this on the side. And it doesn't always have to be that. It doesn't have to be a struggle. Hard work for sure, right? But struggle and grind and the struggle, and I don't want to be in anybody's struggle. And I don't speak that over anybody's life, and I don't speak that over my life. So start your side business, right? If that's where you're at and that's what you want to do. Right. And start figuring out what security, your own security looks like for yourself, because jobs come and go, industries close, companies shut down, right? There's no, like the restaurant industry, who would have thought that we would not be able to go to a restaurant and sit there and eat some food, like the most basic of basic things. Yeah. So I would just say that whatever phase you're in right now, lean into that, get whatever assistance you need to make it through. And if starting a business is where you're at, then reach out to people who have done it and who are doing it successfully and who are in the same line of work that you think that you want to be in.
Right. Well, I think that's a great way to end this thing. You summed it all up. But before we go, I would like for you once again the platform is yours to let everyone know about your company, what you provide, and how they can get in contact with you if they need your services.
Yeah. So before I see a question here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Real Jones.
Micah Jones.
Micah. She wants to know
what is your process
in helping a client build a brand.
Sure. So my process is a 3-phase process. Step 1 is really learning about the story behind the brand. So I take time to really get to know the people. If it's a single person or a team of people, I take time to really get to know them. We flesh out what their brand story is, what it is that they want to be known for, and really hone in on that first, right? So getting to the nitty-gritty of who they are. Then we start working on, like, what are your brand values? What is the culture that you want to have at your own company, in your own business? We flesh all of that out. And then after that, we start talking about your messaging, right? So then and only then can you look at your messaging and your visual brand. And once you know who you are and who you want to be in this marketplace, then we go to what your messaging is, because your messaging is your marketing. So who is your ideal client? Who are you speaking to? What is that avatar? We look at how they receive information. How do they like to be spoken to? Where do you find them? All of that sort of stuff. And then after your messaging, we talk about your monetization. Okay, great. Now you know who you are, who you're serving, where to find them. How do we monetize whatever it is that your offer is to make your brand complete? So a 360-degree brand. The way that I do that is through monthly VIP days, right? So I come on board as your company's virtual brand strategist, me and my team. And you have a dedicated full day where you sit with our entire team and we map out your brand for the next month. So what is the story that we're telling? What is the messaging, individual pieces of content? And then we look at the monetization. So do you need a sales funnel? Do you need certain marketing campaigns to be put in place, that sort of stuff. What does all of that look in totality? And we do that on a monthly basis. And my contracts are for 12 months. So we do that on a monthly basis for 12 months. And it's great because especially for smaller companies, sometimes you can't afford to bring on a full-time brand strategist, right? Like that's a full-time job. And so what it does is that it's a cost-effective way for people to have a brand strategist on their team and access to one who's actively working on branding campaigns without the full expense of an added employee and overhead and unemployment taxes and all of that sort of stuff. So that's what we do and how we do it. I hope that answers your question, Micah.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
So again, the platform is yours. Let everyone know about your company, the services. Well, you just
yeah.
about the service provide, but how they can follow you and
yes.
All that good jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. So 6 Zeros Brand Studio is the company name. You can find me on Instagram at my name, Deandra Coleman. I don't mind mixing professional and business. It's all good. Again, people buy from people, right? So you can find me at Deandra Coleman. And I am also hosting a branding summit coming up March 1st through 6th. And you can find out more information and get on the wait list for registration at 6 Zeros with an S, brandstudio.com/the summit. It's going to be 6 packed days with all of the branding experts on my team. So copywriters, content messengers, photographers, videographers, visual brand identity. It's going to be amazing. 6 full days and then live Q&A on the last day. So that's where you guys can find me.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. So before I go, first and foremost, thank you again for taking time out to join us tonight, and thank you for even participating as the first guest of season 2.
I appreciate you having me.
No doubt, and happy early Founders Day to you as well.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you so much. We'll be partying in pink and green.
There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in tonight to Dope Chats with Stretch. We'll be back again next week with another dope guest. Again, thank you. Thank you is going out to Deandra Coleman for blessing us with her presence tonight. And we'll be back next week. Until then, peace.